Hi and welcome everyone to episode 21, season 4 of the Ruin Hammer live show, where we talk all things One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight, we're going to be chatting live with a couple of fellow content creators. We've got Gerard from Warriors Anonymous and Levon from the Wires Up podcast. And we're also going to have them join us in the preview for this week's Warriors game against the Titans up there on the Gold Coast. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my good mate and co-host Warrioroo, Rob. How are you, mate? How's your week been? No, you muted yourself. Turn it back on. Turn your mic on, mate.
Oh, sorry, mate. Can you hear me now? Same problem as last week. Yeah, technical issues as always. But yeah, no, I'm doing really well. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, always good to be back talking footy. Day 17 of 75 hard. So about 4 kilos of weight loss so far. So yeah, it's going well. Got a long way to go, but yeah, about a quarter of the way through the journey. So yeah, it's going good. I went to Movie World on Sunday. And I'll tell you, my 4-year-old son made me so proud. He goes, "Daddy, Warriors." And I looked up and there was a bloke walking past in the Warriors jersey. So I was just
yes. Cody, yes.
Yeah, on your code.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah. But, yeah, that was a good weekend. How about yourself?
Yeah, weekend was pretty good, mate. I've had a bit of excitement this week. For those that don't know, I work as a garbo, mainly in Surrey Hills of Sydney. I'm on the road pretty early at 2:30 in the morning, so most of my work day is actually performed in the darkness of early morning stuff, and have to put up with rats. And this week, the other day, I think it was Monday, emptying a bin on Monday, rat jumped out, hit me in the chest, landed on my arm, and then scratched its way down my arm as it was falling off, which drew blood, which meant I had to go and have some antibiotic tetanus shots and all the rest of it to make sure I don't catch rabies, or at the very best, become the next Avenger Ratman. Spider-Man. So
yes, you're the new breed of Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, a little bit of excitement. But yeah, mate, before we get into tonight's show, I invite everyone that's watching, if you haven't already done so, to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel to show your support of the streaming content we do create. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters and subscribers, particularly all of our YouTube subscribers and our awesome Patreon subscribers whose donations and support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via StreamYard to bring you guys the content and the guests you all enjoy so much.
Absolutely. A special shout out to our gold tier Patreons. That's Alf Tuolave, Malcolm Earnshaw, Chris Wellington, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Ina Mete, and Lisa Marie Bateman. Thank you guys so much for your continued support and for upgrading your Patreon from the bronze tier to the gold tier. We thank you and appreciate you guys so much for your ongoing support.
Absolutely, we do. Just a reminder to everyone that's tuned in tonight too, the reason that we do the show live is to get the involvement of all you guys watching. So please, as we move through the discussion points tonight, join the conversation, leave your comments, but be aware that we do have current and ex-players and their families that watch this webcast. So keep your comments respectful and refrain from making them personal, please. Rob, won't you add our two guests to our live feed, mate?
Absolutely.
We're joined tonight by fellow content creators. We've got Levon from the Wires Up podcast, and we've got Gerard Cronin from Warriors Anonymous. Evening, boys. How are you?
Hey, guys.
Good, guys.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just enjoying the green room before with all the snacks.
Yeah. How was it?
Oh, mate, fantastic.
Yeah, we put on a good spread for you, didn't we? We went to a lot of effort there. No expenses spared.
Much appreciated.
Thank you,
evening. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Great to have you both here. Before we do get into the discussion, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about your content and where they can find you? Gerard, we'll start with you. Fire away.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from a little podcast called Warriors Anonymous. and that's basically four nobodies talking about the Warriors, the greatest team in the history of the world. And yeah, you can access our content. Podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, probably a few others that I'm forgetting at the moment. Also on YouTube as well. And yeah, so we've got a Facebook group. We're on Twitter and TikTok recently as well, just learning the world of TikTok. So yeah, you can grab us there. Just search Warriors Anonymous, and yeah, and that's us.
Awesome.
Yeah, Levon, yourself?
Yeah, you guys, Levon's my name. Do the Wires Up podcast. I just started this year in season and just been keep going. I do a little bit of stuff on Instagram, like mainly videos, analysis videos. Like I kind of slow the video down and try and break down where we're, our attack or defense, that type of thing. People seem to enjoy it, so I'm still doing it. Yeah, I'm just loving being in the space, meeting guys like yourselves, and just getting to know the Warriors community. It's a really cool place to be a part of. But yeah, Instagram, Spotify for the podcast. Do a little bit of stuff on YouTube as well, a little bit of analysis on there as well. So you find me there as well, and a little bit of TikTok as well, and Twitter. Yep, that's me.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, it's a great community to be a part of. The Warriors content creators. We've got a couple of guys watching tonight. We've got Christian from Warriors NRL Fanatics is in the room, and Zane from the Warriorholic. I see him in the chat group as well. So yeah, it's awesome. It's great that we all kind of come together and support each other. And it's great to have you guys here to join in this discussion. Before we do get into it, though, I just want to throw out there, for those that don't know, Gerard is the man behind that viral "Wars Up," up the Wars song that was done to the How Bizarre by, was it OMC that sang that song?
Yeah.
Mate, tell us about how that came about and the response, what the response has been like, both good and bad, I guess.
Yeah, sure. It kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. I don't really know how it really came together. Obviously, a lot of people this year, the biggest problem that they've had to do with the Warriors, so the season's been going great. So the only bone of contention has been whether they should be called the Wars or not. So I guess that may have subconsciously just seeped into my mind. And yeah, basically I was just humming along to, How Bizarre one day. And then in my head, I just thought, up the Wars. And then I was like, up the Wars. And then, yeah, I went and checked it with the wife. I was like, is this actually a good idea? And she gave me the nod of approval. And I was like, sweet. All right, I'll give it a crack and just see what happens, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It's awesome. Have the Warriors themselves actually given you any feedback on it?
Yeah. So I've heard that their office, we're all humming along to it and bobbing their heads when it first came out and having a good laugh about it. I've seen it on some of their content on TikTok, I think it was. Yep. So they've used it on that. I'm like, it's happy to bloody just spread it wherever it wants to be used. It is can be a bit of a lightning rod of a song, obviously, with the term Wars. A lot of fans are not on board with the whole Wars thing. So to be honest, I actually felt like I'd maybe prepared myself mentally to get a lot more negative feedback than has actually come through. It's actually been quite minimal, the amount of negative feedback. There was a couple of people. One guy said, what did he say? It sounded more like up the arse. So we had a good laugh with that. One guy was poking fun at us, going, hey, you guys are only in the top 8 and acting like you've just won the comp. So we had a good laugh at that one. And yeah, a few other comments, just like, I'll never call them the Wars. That's the Waratahs or whatnot. And, I just reply with something like, Waratahs. I'm like, oh, no, never heard of them. Sorry.
Yeah. Who are the Waratahs?
Yeah. Never heard of them.
Nah, it's awesome, bro. It is. And very, very well done. Very clever. Very catchy. Has old mate from OMC got in touch with you and said, stop using my song?
Well, yeah, I've been waiting for any kind of record people to reach out to me and say, "Oi, get that off." But I haven't heard anything so far. So I'm not making any money out of it. So that's kind of probably the main thing. I think if I stay away from that, then we should be sweet. It's just a little something to share amongst the fans and just for everyone to kind of enjoy and hopefully also do justice to the original as well. I really wanted to try and keep it quite true to the original sort of sound while adapting it as well. So,
yep.
So I'm kind of hopeful I've done that to a good degree.
I think you have, mate. It's
sensational,
very
mate.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks,
It is. Just want to give a shout out to a couple of other content creators in the room as well. Brad Inger and Richie Sterling, who do the standoff there in New Zealand. They're both in the group. Good to see you, boys.
Evening legends.
All right, let's get into the discussion. 22 rounds in, Warriors heavily entrenched in the top 8, boys, sitting in third and pretty much assured of playing finals footy for the first time since 2018 and only the second time since that 2011 grand final. Boys, and I'll start with you, Levon. Before a ball was kicked, where did you have the Warriors finishing this season? Because for me, I tipped them to finish 8th in our prediction show at the beginning of the year, but that was purely a heart prediction and not a head prediction, especially based on how we went last season. Where did you honestly have them finishing 2023?
My heart could only go as far as probably 12th or 14th, something like that. But I was a bit hurt over the last couple of years, but I honestly had them in probably 12th, if I'm being honest, and I was being generous in my head at the time. But so it's been a beautiful occasion to be wrong. It's nice to be wrong, in fact. So. Yeah, I'm just really impressed. But yeah, I honestly, if I'm being honest, guys, I was in that 12, 14. I was the Dolphins going to make the 8th. I was embarrassed to think that the Dolphins were going to already beat us to the 8th. I was like, so I was really angry. So but I'm so pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
Gerard, how about yourself, mate?
So, being a little bit carried away with things, I went through each game at the start of the year, did a bit of a win-loss kind of deal. Went through the whole season, and I had us sitting at 12 wins and 30 points. So I see at the moment we're sitting on 12 wins and 30 points. 30 points. The only difference being that we've still got 5 weeks to go. So I kind of had us. I was pretty optimistic and thought, well, if we get half our wins, we're going to be in the discussion for the 8th, somewhere probably maybe missing out, maybe 9th or 8th, 9th or 10th, something like that. So that was that's where I'd kind of placed them. Hadn't really, I was trying to be, I guess, optimistic with things, probably more happy just to see some signs of, even just faint signs of hope at the start of the year, just on how things had been. So so that's kind of where I was sitting at the end of the season. So I'm very happy as well. Happy to be wrong.
I can't remember where you had us finishing in your predictions, Rob.
Jeez, mate, you want to go back through my preseason predictions again? We all know what I said about SJ, so probably don't need to bring that up again. But look, I think I had us at about 10th, and that was pretty optimistic. I thought, and realistically, I would have been happy with 10th at the end of last year because it would have been a much improved season. 10th at absolute best, maybe sneaking into the 8th, but I'm pretty sure I had us sitting just outside it. Like expected improvement, but nothing like this, obviously. So.
I had the Bulldogs in the 8 as well, so that's how I was. And just want to give a shout out to Richie Morgan, the man behind Warrior Nation, who's in the chat as well. Hey, Richie, good to see you, brother.
On you, Rich.
To say that the results this season have been have exceeded expectations is probably an understatement. Webby's really put his stamp on this squad. Usually takes a coach a little bit of time for his systems to work and to see the results of those, but it's been pretty much instantaneous for Webster. Rob, I'll start with you. What do you put that down to yourself?
Yeah, it's almost like 2001 with Daniel Anderson coming in and making like that, that really almost instant change. But this time I feel like I listened to some of his interviews he did before the end of last year. I think after he started November, and he just said, we've just got to believe in ourselves. That was the key comment that he made in one of the interviews the club put out. And I think that's what he's done. He's just instilled self-belief in the players and made them realize that they could do it. And also throw in a couple of key changes in some important positions. But I think he just seems like a real people person. And as Daniel Anderson did in the past, he's just seemed to have got the best out of the players.
Yeah.
Whereas some of our other coaches probably haven't done so in the more recently.
The Warriorholic, Zane, the Warriorholic has said, I had us in the 8 as soon as I heard Webby speak for the first time. And we were lucky enough to have Webby on early in the year for a bit of a chat. And I was a believer as soon as I heard him speak and he answered some of our questions. Levon, how have you found Webby? What do you think is the thing that has been the most important thing that he's been able to bring this squad together so quickly and so effectively?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think he's just kind of simplified everything. If you look at the last couple 5 years, it was just confusion. Fan, players, everyone, and I think he just simplified it and put the past in the past. I mean, you guys talked about it with Dylan Walker and just giving guys time to let it out and then move on. And I think that's what everyone probably wanted, was just to move on from the whole experience. But I hark back to what Rob was saying, was that Daniel Anderson, and I was watching the video with Monty and Jerry, and we went and visited Daniel this week. And if you think about it, Daniel was just a massive influence on the club. When you really look back at the club, you start at 2001, really. I mean, I acknowledge the guy's 95, but he left such an imprint on the club that's the model that we see now. And it's young New Zealand talent topped off with experienced Aussie players. And I see a similar pattern happening now. And I just want to acknowledge Ando. I think if you think of a coaching tree, I know in NFL they're big on coaching trees. But if you see the tree that's come off of Ando, the players that have come off him, and even the coaches, Cleary, and then Cleary now to Webster, you can kind of connect it all together. But it's still built on that thing that they built at the start, which was letting the boys be the boys, let it be simple, but work hard. It was always about hard work, even with Ando. Even though it was free ball playing, it was still built around tough forwards, hard working, principles. Yeah.
They still have the sand pit. All the boys talk about that, eh?
Oh, they do. They do. I mentioned it to Tukes one time, and he just rolled his eyes and shook his head. What about you, Gerard? Your thoughts on what Webster's done with the squad this year, mate?
Yeah, so a combination, I think, of what's just been mentioned, to be fair. I really like the fact that I love it when a coach goes to a player and just backs them. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what kind of form they're in. He goes to them and says, hey, I know you, Sean Johnson. I know what you can do. I can see us doing some good things. We just need to keep things focused, just keeping our lane here, and we can do really well. And I think he's done that with Chance, with Sean, with Temaire Martin, who's coached previously as well. A number of these guys, he's just gone up to them and said, hey, you've got so much potential in you that you can, if we focus on a few things in this game, we can improve and get to the next level, next game, next level again. So I think that he's just really instilled that belief and that confidence and just kept it so nice and simple that guys just focus on their task. They don't get carried away. And all of a sudden, like, things are just, clicking into place because a few guys, or everyone across the field really is just doing their job, and the whole thing is just working really well. So I see in Webby already, I see a bit of the magic that Bennett has, Wayne Bennett. I just like the way that Wayne Bennett, he takes a team, like, he can take a team of anyone. He can take a team of under 13s and go and, get them doing a pretty good, solid job, just going out there playing good, solid footy and backing themselves. And I see a lot of that in Andrew Webster. So, that's exciting. I'm ready to sign him up for like 25 years, man. Let's get the contract done.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be a long-term coach. For us, it's weird, isn't it? Because he's got this real aura around him. He talks well. He explains things so very well. I think Levon said it himself. He simplifies things where it's very easily understood. And as I said, we had him on at the beginning of the year, and he spoke so well. We asked him some questions around coaching and so forth, and he answered those really clear and concise, where even guys that haven't coached can understand where he's coming from. One thing that's really impressed me with him this year has been his post-match press conferences. How good he's been in those, how he's been able to explain, certain points of the game that where we've done so well and where we haven't done so well, and things that we need to work on. And he's never really got carried away either. He just seems to have such a level head. He doesn't get upset. he's probably the polar opposite to Craig Bellamy and Ricky Stewart. Oh, poor old Ricky. Looking back on our season so far, there's been some wonderful results. I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. If you could pick one game, what's been the standout game for you so far this season? I'll start with you, Gerard.
Oof. Standout game for me, I would say probably, I reckon the Cronulla win. Because going into that game, I think we were like teams 4 and 5, somewhere around there. Cronulla were traveling pretty well. I think they were on the verge of about a 6-game winning streak at that point. Yep. So essentially, I don't know, we must have put the killer punch in them and sent them the other way. But I think that, going into that game, that was a huge game. And even a lot of pundits weren't picking the Warriors to win that one. They were backing Cronulla to, carry on their good form. But man, we just went out there and we just diced them. We didn't make a contest of it at all. We just completely ran all over them and never looked like we're going to lose that game. So I think for me, that was probably, the most comprehensive win.
Yep. What about you, Rob?
I'm also going to say the Sharks, but the first Sharks game. So the one back in round 5. Nice. I mean, I still get goosebumps just thinking about that game, because that was one that, if it was any other year, you just couldn't see us winning it. But we just showed how far we've come in such a short period of time under Webby, that we were able to show the resilience to get back into that game and win it, mental toughness, exercising some demons, because last year we played at that ground and lost to a 12-man team. That just, I still can't get over that one.
Yeah, to talk about that one. That was...
But they were down to 11 at one point, weren't they? Oh my gosh.
11, yes, they were. Yes, they were. And I just, So there's something about Sharks. We don't have a great record against the Sharks either, and especially at Shark Park, and Sean Johnson up against his old side, and just nailing that conversion, and then. I think at the time I was like, that's one of the greatest wins in Warriors history, because just what we came back from, what was the score? 20, it was 20-0, wasn't it? 20-0,
yeah,
26-6. So
yep.
Yeah, so the amount of mental toughness that we showed that day, and the way that they sort of spoke about it after the game, Sean Johnson was just saying, just look, like in halftime, I said, look, boys, we can win this. And imagine the story if we go out and win it. And I think the self-belief that they took from that when they actually went out and did it fairly comfortably. Like they just came out in that second half and were just clinical, played good footy, smart footy. And that's one I think all of us will remember for a long, long time.
What about you, Levon?
I also remember the smile on Ronaldo's face. Started to fade as the game wore on.
That was good.
What about you, Levon?
Yeah, for me, it was that first Cowboys game, and I suppose we're all going to the start of the season, but it was kind of a big point for me because we've been stuck on 16 points attack-wise for the last 5 years or so. We couldn't get more than. So it was nice to see us kind of open up, and the offense started to open up against the Cowboys. And at that time, it was fair that they looked like they were going to be a top 8 team, and potentially still will be, but. It was just nice to see us open things up. Those tries to Jazz, the play through the middle, the work on the edges. It just felt like, well, we've started to really move as a club, and things are going to start to click. And I felt from that point on, I was like, okay, there's something here, and I think we'll carry on. And going into what Gerard was saying about that Sharks game, I always felt that we were going to start putting 40 points on. Just the offense looked like it was going to click at some stage, and it's just been nice to see us put 40 on a quality Sharks side. I mean, but I think that was the genesis for me, because I was getting sick of us, scoring 16 points or 20. I was like, oh, we cracked 26. Yeah. That's awesome. We've made a progress here. Yeah,
it's funny you should say that, because that was one of the things that Rob and I discussed at the beginning of the year, was where our points were going to come from. Because last year, as you said, we struggled to score points. And Sean Johnson last year definitely wasn't playing the way Sean Johnson is this year, and he didn't have that creativity. He didn't have very many try assists, and we kind of had that discussion. Thought, I don't know where our points are going to come from, but it's turned it around for me. The game that stands out the most for me is the Raiders game when we played them at GIO. Gerard Cronin's 300th. You know, we were under the pump for the first 20 minutes. Raiders had all the ball. Our defence only allowed them to score that one Jack Whiten try, and then from there it was 60 minutes of dominance that the Warriors put on and overcame the emotion of that game. And again, it's one thing that we haven't been known for is winning away from home, winning games on the road. And that's something we've been very, very good at this year. We've beaten the Sharks up at Shark Park. We've beaten, the Cowboys up at Cowboys Stadium, Canberra at GIO, and they're some of the hardest games to win on the road for the Warriors. So that's probably the game that stands out for me. Off-season recruits, boys. To be honest, the guys that we recruited, Niokore, Barnett, C&K, Martin, Metcalf, Walker, Ford, none of them were real big-name superstar signings. But within Webster's system and in this squad, these guys have really found a home. Who has been the best purchase for us, in your opinion? And I'll start with you, Levon.
I said Dylan Walker. I just always felt that he opened things up, and it was pretty clear. I mean, you saw in the game plan how much, you know, we were all waiting for that 20-minute mark, right, when he comes on the field, and you kind of start to see the way he can just really attack in the middle, and then it just creates a lot for others. And I think others have talked about it, maybe C&K is, and I wouldn't go far from that because he's played every game and he's worked his ass off pretty much. But Dylan just has that way of just transforming the team into another gear, and I haven't seen that in a while. So, but yeah, just quickly on the recruits, I was the same as you. Nothing really stood out. But I think if you think about it, with the right coach, this has always been the model. The veteran Aussie players and the stage of life that they're in. You know, I think the actual criteria now maybe, if you to get a profile of what it is, you want a kind of a mature Aussie guy with a family that's ready to settle down, that doesn't want to go, jumping around. And I think we found the right guys in Barnett and Dylan at the stage of life they're in. And I'm sure they'll all talk about that. So, but yeah, I do think Walker was just a massive one. I just noticed straight away, wow, he's just so direct. He opens things up, and he's mature now. He's probably, if you think about it, in his prime, similar to Sean, just mentally right there, knows how to get the game. I just love him. Yeah.
Yeah, won a premiership at the Rabbits, and he's played in a very successful Manly side too for the past couple of seasons. And as we said after the chat last week, just such a really down to earth, humble kind of guy, but spoke really, really well, and just really understanding his role within the game now as well. Having moved from centre 5'8" now into that 14 role. Gerard, who's it been for you? Who has been that one guy that's really stood out as one of the new recruits?
Yeah, I'd go with Chance, just as overall value that he brings. And I think that last set that we had in Golden Point against the Raiders is a bit of a microcosm for how the season's gone. Because he went to the back, got the catch on the full, took the first hit up, bang, and then I think he took about the third hit up as well. And it just gave us such a good boost getting out of our own end. And that's the kind of thing he's been doing all year long. It is a little bit tricky to kind of weigh up a lot of these guys because guys like Niokore, Barnett, and Walker have had, and even Metcalf as well. They haven't played as many games, hasn't been as consistent on the field as like Chance or Jackson Ford have been. But yeah, I just think overall I'd go for consistency and probably put Chance as the guy who's he's doing such a great job and really provides so much value. So much so that a guy named Roger Tuivasa-Sheck wants to come back, but he ain't going to the fullback spot. So that's such a good indicator of how his season has gone. Chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, what about yourself, mate? Who's been that one guy for you?
Yeah, look, I was actually going to say Chance as well, and for the reason being, like, he's the exact kind of fullback that we needed. The bigger body, the carries from the back. He's safe. Like, not many mistakes in him, and he's also sort of opened up his attacking game a bit as well. You can see him chiming into the back line a lot more, quite a few more try assists. like not to bag out Reece Walsh or anything, but like he is. G'day, mate.
You are a doggy supporter after all.
Yeah, I knew it. We were saying about Jared's blue and white background. There we go.
Hey, you're making me look bad,
We got the
Miles.
mole. We found the mole.
Is that Haslam? Haslam?
His name is Miles, actually. So yeah, maybe there is
Miles.
something in there.
Okay.
Nate Miles.
Nate Miles. Yeah, he started books, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Oh,
yeah. Sensational. I'd seen Kate, but I also want to give a bit of a mention to Jackson Ford. He's one guy, and when he signed, Mark and I sort of had a chat and almost a bit of a chuckle at each other. I'm like, who's this guy? Who is this guy? I've never heard of this bloke. They said something like he'd played 50 games for the Dragons, but then we realised that about 38 of them had been in New South
reserve
Wales.
grade.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, who's this bloke? I was like, oh, and we literally said, oh, he's coming to play New South Wales Cup. He'll be a depth signing at best, but gee, again, boy, were we wrong. He came into the side during the trials. He looked good in the trials, and he's just held his spot all season. He gets through a mountain of defence. He runs some good lines at the edge, and he might give away the odd 6 to go, but Walks was saying last week that's just because he's such a competitor, and he's just trying to dominate every tackle, and he's just like trying his guts out. I was lucky enough to have a bit of a chat with him during Magic Round. Lovely bloke, really softly spoken, shy sort of fella, but it was just disappointing because he was saying that he'd come from a club where his coach said that he wasn't first grade material. So I'll let you guys all join the dots there.
Is that the guy commentating the Fox right now?
Yes.
We all know the guy.
Yeah. So I think he's proven a few people wrong this year, especially not least Hammer and myself. So there you go.
He has. I agree with the guys that you guys have said in D Walks and CNK, but I'm going to throw out another guy I actually picked Barnett to win the Simon Mannering medal this year before a ball was kicked, obviously, and he did have some injuries and missed a bit of game time, but I think we're going to see the best of Barnett over the next couple of weeks heading into finals footy. He's just an absolute competitor, a workhorse, works really, really hard in the middle of the field, can play on an edge as well. There was talk that he wasn't going to come back this year, that his injury could have actually been career-ending. So for him to make it back on the field and then to be playing, 60, 70 minutes every week and in the middle of the field is testament to his strength and his courage. And I think he's going to be a guy, for me, that's really going to come into his own over these next couple of weeks as we head into the semi-finals. And Gerard, you mentioned RTS coming next season, which is a massive coup in terms of how our recruitment just keeps on powering through. We've also re-signed Egan, we've re-signed Pompey, Leatua has also re-signed. I think for the squad at the moment, Rob and I were talking before, and I think Bailey Sirinen is now the only current top 30 squad member that's not re-signed past this season. I don't think he'll be given a contract. What are your thoughts on Bailey and or who possibly could be another target for who the Warriors would be looking at? Gerard?
Yeah, that's a funny one as well, because like everyone kind of anticipated that Bailey would be the guy, the odd man out. And over the course of the past 6 weeks, he's just gone out and played his role so well. So I guess he's maybe given them a little bit of food for thought. It's like, oh, hang on, maybe we won't get rid of him. But there are guys coming through like the New South Wales Cup side, name like Kalani Going has been mentioned.
What a player, eh? What a player.
Yeah. So he's got a bit of the old sort of Lewis Brown about him. So I think he could possibly be the guy who they may look to progress, and just really be great to. It'd be sad for Sirinen to go, but on the plus side, it would be great to prove that our pathways are really already progressing in this year one. Like we've only just begun, and there's so much to be gained by getting these guys to come up through the ranks and up to the top as well.
Yeah, there's a young guy. Is it Tanner Stower Smith?
Yes.
He came through the flag system. Was it flag or ball that we
Ball,
played this
yeah.
year, wasn't it? So he
Yep.
played in that ball squad, and now he's playing New South Wales Cup, and he's only a young kid, but it just goes to show like how our pathways are working. And then next year we're going to have flag, we're going to have Harold Matts as well, so we're going to have all 5 male squads playing, and then 2025 looks like we're going to have a women's squad coming in. So future's looking bright for the Warriors. How's that all received back home in New Zealand, Levon, with our pathways and so forth?
Yeah, I've seen the registrations have gone out this week for applications for kids that want to go, and I've noticed on Facebook especially. I'm part of the Waikato Rugby League community, and they've already started to post it, and I'm sure they're going to get a lot of traction across the country.
Yep.
But it's just great, man. It's for a young kid coming up, 15, 17, to have an opportunity to play at home. I was talking to someone and we were talking about, guys like Joey Manu and all the other guys that have gone to the Storm or Roosters or wherever, they all had to up and leave their families, and they've done well to do that, but it's not ideal for everyone. So
yeah,
it's just, I think for kids in New Zealand to have a pathway that's clear and levels, each time you progress and move up, it's just awesome. And I think it's going to build traction. Obviously for us, the profile is going to have to grow. We're going to have to, look at more kids. And it's great for us as fans to see we can start to track some of the progress of each guy. So, but I think it's going to build over time once, the system gets going. But I do think it's going to be, awesome just in New Zealand across, the country. It's going to be really cool. Yep.
Yeah. I saw a stat the other day that showed that all the NRL teams and how they've been affected by injuries during 2023, and it was injuries to players that have been sidelined for more than 5 games, and it had like the Roosters up there with 11. I think it had the Storm with 8, but it had the Warriors as the worst affected with 11 players as well. It really hasn't hindered our performance or our results like it would have in previous seasons. What do you attribute that to, Rob?
I think we've got pretty good depth this year, and we've got that next man up mentality that I've heard referenced a few times. So there's real synergy between the first grade squad, the New South Wales Cup squad. Everyone's on the same page, and they know that if they need to step up to first grade, they know exactly what they need to do. They know their role, and they do it. And we've seen it all through this year. We've seen guys come up and do the job, like when Tane Tawapiki came in for one game at fullback when Chance was out. He performed really well. Other guys like old Tonsils Volkman's come in and done a job when he had to. So all those guys are ready.
Yeah.
Leatua,
Dimitri Sifakula.
Yep. All those guys that have come up have been ready to go, and you can see it. They're not overawed by the task, and they know exactly what they need to do and how they fit into the side and the game plan as well.
Yeah, it's given a lot of guys a bit of an opportunity as well. Gave them, a little bit of first grade experience, and they'll be better for that, next season and the following seasons after that. We'll get into this week's team a little bit down the track, but we have a guy like Jazz coming back now from injury, which is going to put pressure on guys in that 17, no doubt. I just want to talk about a couple of standout performers that we've had this season, and just feel free to jump in and have your say on any of these guys. We'll start at the back with CNK. He's had 5 tries, 5 try assists, 71 tackle breaks, 6 line breaks, and he's averaging 187 run meters a game. This is a guy that couldn't play first grade at Canberra last year, and has come home and made that fullback spot himself. You mentioned it before, Gerard. He's playing so well that a guy like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is coming back to the club next year, and he's going to have to shift positions. You spoke about him a little bit before, but he's had a wonderful season, hasn't he?
Huge season, just an absolute workhorse, and you can see it every game. He goes out there, he just really gives it everything. He goes and hurts himself probably 2-3 times a game. A couple of times you see him doubled over, and you think, is he going to make it? But he just powers on and really, just gutses it out, and that's exactly what we need for the team. I actually, for all the praise that I've given him, I actually feel like he's still got quite a bit of improvement in him when he comes into the playmaking shape.
Yep.
A lot of times we kind of go out the back to him, and he will sort of get a little bit lost, maybe not take it to the line as much as he could. I think once he starts doing that, I know he seems like he's definitely improved on it, but I feel like he's still got more that he can do, and we can make, it's scary to think that our edge attack could be even more deadly than it already is, just by making a couple of tweaks into even just holding the ball for like half a second longer. I'd be keen to see Chance get amongst that a little bit more.
Anything to add, boys?
He just looks happy to be home, like a lot of the guys. Like he just looks like he's in his element, and it's conducive to him playing fantastic footy. The biggest, probably one of the most memorable things that he's done this year is that try save on Kalen Ponga in round 1.
Yes,
that was a massive play and a sort of real statement for how the season, I guess, was going to unfold after that. They're defensive minded, and that was fantastic start to the year for him, and he's just kept it up. The meters, as I said before, is awesome as well.
That defensive play was something that Roger was synonymous with as well, and it's something that we didn't have.
Very Roger-like.
It's something we didn't have for all his great attacking flair. It's something we didn't have with Reece Walsh when he was playing fullback last season for us. But CNK's been absolutely outstanding, and as you said, Rob, it's the smile on his face. He just looks. They just look so happy to be back home and playing footy. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak only played 11 games this year, scored 16 tries, had a try assist, 45 tackle breaks, 17 line breaks. He's averaging 153 average run meters. The Warriors in seasons past have been renowned for having big wingers, but not too much on the speed department. But now we've got a guy like Dallin who has the speed but plays well above his weight with his second and third tackle carries. Levon, how have you seen Dallin's game since he's come back from injury?
Yeah, I've loved it. I think he had that hoodoo. Didn't he have a record for losing game? Like he just couldn't win a game or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and I think it's a lot to do with all of our guys is that they've come back with a refreshed mind and kind of reset themselves, and like goes back to Webby, a coach that believes in him. I mean, a lot of us probably didn't believe in him because we saw the pay scale that he was on, and you kind of question, well, what's he really doing? But now you're starting to see it in this system in particular. He's like a to'o, if you really break it down. He's got that ability, and I think Webby's captured that and simplified it for him, that he knows what his role is. He's not having to create. I think sometimes our players in the past, if they haven't been given a specific role, so they'll think, oh, I'm going to try something here, and then it ends up being worse off. So I see him. He's just got a very structured role, a Brian Tall type role where he hits the line hard, and when he gets on the outside, he's got some of the best finishing I've seen in a long time, and consistent finishing. He can put that ball on a dime in that corner every time. He hasn't missed it once. So you got to acknowledge the guy. He's a very sharp professional, and he's just come into a good time where there's a good coach that believes in him. He believes in himself now, and that hoodoo's gone. He's not part of it. He's part of a winning streak now. So he's completely washed that away. And I just think it's been an awesome time just to watch him and appreciate him, because I think a lot of people didn't appreciate him initially, but now we can.
I questioned when he was signed, because he was having a busted season at the Bulldogs, and I remember being at the game at Central Coast Stadium talking to Cam George, and they were saying they were going to announce that he had signed, and I put on the happy face, but kind of questioned what that was going to do in terms of like how he was going to fit into our game. The one thing that impressed me that year that he came, which I think was 2021, was he forgo being at the birth of his daughter to stay in with the Warriors when they relocated up to Queensland, and that's something that I think gets lost in conversations when people talk about Dallin, and that just showed a commitment to the team and to the squad. And here we are 2 years later, and it's so good to see him reaping the rewards of such great gameplay, playing on the edge of a wonderful back line. And all those little sacrifices that he made a couple of years ago are kind of coming back, and he's being repaid for that. So, I think that's just great. He's having a wonderful season. 16 tries. What's leading try scorer at the moment? Is that Cam Pereira with 18, or Dom Young, or Micah Sevo, or Ravalawa, or somebody like that?
Dom Young has 21, I think. He equaled the Newcastle record, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, well, Dallin, we get a couple more 4-try games for Dallin.
That's all we ask, Dallin. Just a couple of 4-try games.
He's also got the better hair as well, to be fair. He's got the greatest hairstyle in the whole game. So.
My sister loves him. She reckons he looks like people call him Lionel Richie, but my sister thinks he looks like Daryl Jenks from Coming to America with the soul glow.
Soul glow, yeah.
Someone told me he also looks like the villain from Ghost or something. Like
Who's the villain in Ghost?
Put that one up, guys.
Oh,
man,
yeah, that is brutal.
Same, it's the hairstyle. I was like, yeah.
I can't remember.
And I had to Google the villain from Ghost.
Was Whoopi Goldberg? Was that Whoopi Goldberg, the villain from Ghost?
Hey, everyone in the chat's looking up. Hey, look it up, guys. Villain from
Ghost. See if there's any resemblance. I was like, yeah, he's 30 years older, but yeah, sure.
Fuck. Oh, wow. Dylan Walker, we spoke about him as being, a standout purchase for us this year. He's had 2 tries, 4 try assists, 22 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 403 tackles and an average of 25 a game. He's really doing the role that Webby wants him to coming off the bench. He's had a really good season, hasn't he, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. Another bloke who seems really happy and the way he's going, happy to be with the boys. He's fit in really well in the team. That 20-minute mark, as I think you said, Gerard, you look forward to when he comes on and the energy that he brings, because it really does change the game. And he's not a big man in size, but he plays well above his weight, and he just always pokes his head through the line, and he's got a lot of facets to his game. So he's played in the halves, he's played in centres. He can play almost any position on the park. So he's filled in. He's filled in at 5'8" a few times. Plays in the back row, played lock. He could plug a gap in centre. It's just energy. He's just the energy man.
He is. He obviously knew something that we didn't know last year when he signed, because when they asked him why he was coming to the Warriors, he said he was coming to win a premiership. And I remember hearing that and looking at how we were going last year and thinking, this guy's on drugs. But,
yeah. And it was Brownie that signed him as well.
It was too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, well, thanks, Brownie. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to move on to Adam Fanua-Blake. And this is a guy, he's having an outstanding season. 6 tries, 54 tackle breaks. He's had 1,207 post-contact meters. He averages 13.6 meters with every hit up he takes. 24 offloads, 549 tackles made at an average of 28 tackles a game, and 169 average run meters a game with an average of 63 post-contact. That's a lot of stats. To me, that says best front rower in the game. Gerard, what's your thoughts on how Adams kind of come into that role as just like the alpha dog of our squad, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, we on Warriors Anonymous we call him the slow dancer, because he goes up to the line. He doesn't he doesn't really charge in, sort of gets there, and then once the contact happens, and he just carries on, just slowly moving on. But yeah, he does that role so well. He's got a bit of late footwork, which can really just put the defense off as well. They're sort of not sure exactly what he's going to do. So then he's able to get those post-contact meters going. But also a really, really smart player. I like watching him when there's potential issues around like captain's challenge or anything that's a little bit niggly like that, because he's usually the guy who will be able to spot what's going on and immediately, go up to someone and be like, hey, no, we need to sort this out. Or he's got a great eye for detail. He's also got a great eye for some really nice lines. He picks those little holes up the middle. And when you've got ball players like Tohu and Dylan Walker hanging around him, all of a sudden, all he needs is a little bit of space, because he's a big unit. And once he gets going, good luck stopping him. So I love his vision, and I love his footy smarts on top of everything else that he's adding to our forward pack. He's the man.
He used to have a little bit of garbage in his game, whether it be like mouthing off or just some silly play. But he seemed to have got that out of his game this year. For me, I reckon he's the form front row. I mean, they talk about Payne Haas being the form front rower of the NRL, but I think AFB's overtaken him just based on pure effort and where his game's gone to. Particularly this season, he's just been absolutely outstanding. You mentioned Tohu Harris, and I'll throw this one at you, Levon. 123 average run meters, 623 tackles at an average of 38 a game. He's a guy that's leading from the front, and let's not forget that he's playing injured every week too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, man. I've said, man, I think Gerard's even said he's the mummy with all the strapping that he has.
Mumra.
He's got 400 meters of tape wrapped around him this game as well, bro. That one's in the stats.
Yeah. Take that off and put it across the field a couple of times, and you'll have the amount of tape he has. I've said it, and I do believe it. I think he's the right captain for this group and this team.
Absolutely.
Right now. He just balances it really well. Leads from the front, his example. Even when I see him on the sideline, there's shots of these guys that just captures how they think, and you just see him, and he wants to be on the field so much. Even with the injury toll, my favorite part of Tohu this year, apart from the great footy that he's playing, is the bromance between him and Webby in those interviews. You just see Tohu just glares into his eyes and just.
I know.
It's just amazing. It's okay, guys, to feel that way about another guy. It's cool, It's okay to
embrace
love your coach. Embrace it. Yeah. So, I really do feel he's just a big part of what we're doing. His experience, his ball playing. I've said that Yo was kind of the robotic Ivan Drago type, whereas he's the last samurai. He's got flair. He's got ball movement. I do believe he's the best ball playing lot. And if we just want to keep him healthy. I've noticed his minutes are slowly dropping down. I think there's a plan in place to kind of just ease his toll a little bit, hopefully. But yeah, I'm just loving everything that he's giving. He's giving everything, guys, and I do believe that, and the right captain for right now. Yeah.
And with guys like, as we said, with Barnett coming back from injury, we've got Jazz coming back from injury, and Dylan Walker back from injury now. These are guys that can take a little bit of that pressure off Tohu's minutes, so he can have a little bit of a spell. Because I noticed in the last game that we played, that he came off towards the end of the first half, which is odd for Tohu, because Tohu normally plays that first 40 or 50 minutes before he gets a break. Obviously Webster's got a plan to ease him a little bit, take a bit of the pressure off him. But you're right, he just wants to be out there. And he's a guy that's never had a big voice, as in being a vocal kind of guy. But since getting the captaincy, he's kind of found his voice. You can hear him chirping at the refs during a game. Not Pricey-like, but still chirping at the refs during the game, and talking in the post-match press conferences as well. Putting his 2 cents worth. I can't wait till we get this media ban done and we get these guys back. We get these guys back in talking. Rob, I'll throw to you about a guy that you spoke about before, Jackson Ford. 3 tries, 6 line breaks, 6 offloads, 603 tackles at an average of 35, and he's averaging over 100 run meters a game. He's been, a surprise packet purchase for us. You mentioned how Griffo basically told him that he wasn't a first grader, and he came looking, and sometimes a change is as good as a holiday, isn't it? He's just made every post a winner this year.
Oh, look, you ain't got to cut it, son. Absolutely. Just so pleasantly surprised. I guess he just adds so much to the team. And you notice, like there was a few weeks where he wasn't in the side, and you kind of noticed it because of all that effort that he puts in defense, and I think he's become like a good runner on the edge as well. He's picked up a few tries. Just so pleasantly surprised. And I think we were talking earlier in the year, and there probably hasn't been an Australian like forward that's come into the team that's made that bigger impact since say someone like Michael Luck.
Yep.
Who is kind of an unheralded sort of player that just comes in and just gets in there and does his job.
Yep.
That's. I mean, obviously he's got a lot to long way to go to get up to Lucky standards. But yeah, like he's been fantastic. Again, just I guess a testament to the belief that Webby has been able to put into some of these guys. Someone that was an outsider, a fringe player, and he's come into this team and he's not just holding his spot, but he's starring. So yeah,
there was a game early in the year, and you'll know which one it is, Rob, because you know every game off the top of your head, where Tohu got injured and they moved him from his edge to the middle, and he ended up making 50 tackles in that game with only one missed tackle. I think it might have been against the Cowboys, but that was when the nail dropped for me in terms of that this guy could actually be pretty good for us and do something big for us this year. But you're right. Yeah, he's very Michael Luckish in his gameplay, and there's no secret that the most successful Warriors teams in the past have always had a bit of a hard Aussie, playing in their back row. We had Campo 01, 02, Michael Luck from I think it was 06 through to 2011 or 2012. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, maybe Jackson Ford's that man for us. Gerard,
I like the fact that he came in, at the start of the season, played a few, gun games, and everyone was like, "Who is this guy? He's amazing." And then he kind of went through a little bit of a patch where it almost felt like he was trying to play an overdrive, and he was just trying to play a little bit too fast for his own game. And as the season has kind of gone on, like he's found his rhythm, found his kind of speed and tempo that he plays at. Because there was a little patch there where every time he was getting up to play the ball, I was dreading it. I was thinking, oh no, he's about to drop it, because he keeps jumping up and trying to play the ball,
that's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I think he's steadily just worked on that. He's just found his groove. He's figured out where he needs to be in first grade. Unlike what his old coach said, and he's focusing on that. He's just playing at his optimum level of speed. And it's really just paying dividends for our team.
Yeah, he knows his role. He knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah.
That one player that I have my heart in my throat every time he gets up to play the ball is Marcelo Montoya. Old hectic Montoya He does have a mistake in him at play the ball.
Used to be Jack Murchie. Juggle the first one every time.
Hands. Yeah.
Gerard, I'll throw to you about Wade Egan, mate. What have your thoughts been on Wade Egan? He's had 5 tries, started the season all guns blazing, and I think 4 tries in the first 4 games. Scored 5 tries. He's had 4 try assists, 7 line break assists. An average of 39 tackles a game. He's really come into his own in that hooking role for the Warriors now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I watch his game, and he's basically my favorite player in the Warriors. I love what he does. I love how he manages things. He's creative with the ball. Sometimes he'll dart out a dummy half and just shock a defense, because they're like, "Well, where did that come from?" And the way he is distributing the ball. At times it can be, he's got the odd sort of mispass here and there, but by and large, he's able to get the ball to Sean or to the first receiver on time. When we're on attack, it's right there where Sean needs it. He can take 2 steps, bang, chuck it out wide, run, score in the corner. And I think that he plays such a huge role in getting us there, managing the forwards and just, marshalling the troops around the place. But also, when we get into those attacking areas, he becomes the key in terms of unlocking the inside defense, so that we can, eventually stretch them out wide. That's if he doesn't decide to just, throw a dummy and go himself, Yeah, he's got some good times. He really picks his moments well to make those little darts and just shoot through and catch the defense napping. So I can't say enough about Wade Egan this year. He's been amazing.
Yeah, and he's a true 80-minute player too now.
Yeah, and he's using the no-look pass for good instead of evil this year. So,
always a good thing, yeah.
The last player I want to highlight, and I'll get everyone to comment on this guy. I'll start with you, Levon. Sean Johnson. He scored 6 tries. He's had 20 try assists, 17 line break assists. 19 forced dropouts this year with his kicking game. He's averaging 539 kick meters a game. And the one thing that's really impressed me is he's averaged 19 tackles a game, and he's tackling at 95% efficiency. He doesn't have many missed tackles. Playing with a smile on his face, obviously happy to be home. Life off the field is just as good as life on the field. What have you made of Sean Johnson's resurgence this year, if we can call it that, Levon?
Yeah, just blown me away. I was in a similar place as you guys, just doubting, I suppose, Sean and what he could do. I think it just credit to him. I think it's a big part of the package was, coming home, settling himself down, having Webby. I think it's all worked out. I think he just matured as a person. And I think I try to use the analogy of someone, and I know it's pretty sacrilege to say this, but Michael Jordan. If you think about Michael Jordan, early in his career, just amazing athlete, could jump in from everywhere. And then when he came back from, baseball, he was still athletic, but he simplified his game to where he worked in the post and those types of things. He actually evolved. His mind got sharper. He read the game better. Sean is in a similar place. His natural, gifts of running in that have diminished in a fair sense. But every other element, the game has slowed down for him. His timing and pacing of his passes, his reading of the defensive line, his kicking game has been on point. Even when he's the only kick option that the defense knows he's the only guy, he still finds space and time to get his kicks off and pinpoint with the kick chase. And then his little extras on top of that. I've always felt Sean was the emotional driver of the team. How he feels impacts a lot of how we perform. And so I think he just put his head down and gone to work. And I think everyone's been able to relax and say, oh, sweet, I want to work hard as well. But sometimes, Sean, you always felt, Sean's a bit off today, or he's a bit angry or upset at something. And you can kind of feel the guys are a little bit, am I on the right spot? Am I running the right line today? But that's all gone. And I think it's just sort of that maturity has really come through this year. That's what I think, yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Shawnee this year, Gerard?
Well, I think that he did the groundwork at the start of the year before anything got underway. And I know that there was reports of him having, looking in the best nick he's ever been. He's always looked pretty good anyway, to be fair. But, he was testing better than he ever had. And, that scared the living hell out of me because I'm used to those preseasons where, you hear all these promising things and it just doesn't translate onto the field. But he's gone out there with a real edge, a real mental and physical edge this year. He's gone out there. It is those extras that Levon mentioned. He's putting the kicks through, and he's the first one to chase it down. He's getting up. He's, when we're scoring tries, he's, pumping up the crowd, and you can just see there's a real fire that he's got there. It's like it's almost like a destiny kind of thing. He had to sort of go away, learn a few things, and come back, and even go through the fire of the last sort of year or so to really just harness, what he can do. And now he's reaping the rewards under a great system and, with a great team around him. But yeah, I just think that he's just really just knuckled down. He's decided we can go out and do this. Probably helped, from the belief from the coach, from the management, from the players around him. And, with that confidence, man, he is a scary, scary player. He can still, do a bit of shake and bake. You've seen him against the Dolphins, carve them up. And I reckon he can pull that out at some stage as we get to the important bits of the competition. So I hope that the other teams, they don't think about it. They just think, oh, he's an old boy. Not even that old. He's only like the same age as Daly Cherry Evans, isn't he? So he's still got the bit of giddy up in those shoes. But what he is able to do, I just love how he is so confident at the moment. He's taking the ball to the line. They always talk about playmakers straightening the attack before they shift it out wide. And this year he is really doing that because by the time he does that, his edge forward or Chance or Rocco or Dallin, whoever's outside him, they have got room to move and, they can just absolutely ruin teams outside. So I'm loving what Sean is doing. And I just hope he keeps doing it because it is so good to watch. Also, he's always been a match winner. He's got that in him. There's players that have it or don't. And he has it. So if we get into those positions where we need him to, aka 2 weeks ago, you can bank on him to get us home.
Yeah, and Rob, from a guy that said that Sean Johnson would get the tap on the shoulder by round 15 and he'd be forced into early retirement this year.
You weren't alone, bro. You weren't alone.
Thank you.
You weren't alone, buddy.
How are you seeing Sean's season this year, mate?
It's quite honestly, this is the best he's ever played. I truly believe this is his best season to date in the NRL. Take out when he came in 2011 as a rookie, and then that really good 2014 season when he was Golden Boot. Back then he was the highlight reel player, but he wasn't necessarily the player that we needed. The criticisms of him were like, when the going gets tough, he wasn't around. He could come up with a big play against like the lesser teams, but he'd struggle to do that in the big games where we really needed him to. But like this year, he's just proved that this version of Sean Johnson is the version of him that we've needed all along. And it's almost like it's a perfect storm. Like the penny's finally dropped. He's back at home. I don't know what it is. Like Webby, I think it's just everything, and it's just combined for him to this version of SJ that we have now, which is just the best version that we've ever had. And yeah, I mean, I'm so happy to be wrong because I really love SJ, and he is the heart and soul of this team. And if you need a big play, he is the guy that you go to, and he is delivering this year.
He dropped the bundle in that 2018 semi-final against the Panthers when Roger got injured, and we kind of really needed him to step up in that game, and he didn't. And because of that, all that other bullshit happened afterwards, where he ended up leaving, spending 3 seasons at Cronulla before re-signing with the Warriors. But he effectively spent 4 years in Australia because of that. And I remember last year when we got that first home game again back against the Tigers, and they showed the vision of the boys running out, and the look on Sean's face running out onto Mount Smart Stadium that day was just absolute joy. And then you've seen it every time we run out this year at home. He just looks so happy to be back playing footy at home, and I think that goes a long way to the player that we've got this year. And as you guys have all said, he's older, he's wiser, he realises what his role in the team is. He's not that highlight reel player anymore. He's the guy that manages the team. He steers us around the park. He plays both sides of the ruck. Yep, his kicking game is absolutely outstanding. He's setting up tries, and he's scored a couple of tries, and I think he's caught the opposition off guard a couple of times because no one's expecting that he's got the speed in his legs anymore. But he's proven that he has. But he's had a wonderful season, and 5 games to go of the regular season. Let's hope it continues, and we go deep into the finals. And speaking of the 5 games to go, boys, let's look ahead at our run home. We're currently sitting third on 30 points. We've got 5 games left. We got away game against the Titans this weekend at CBUS. Then there's a away game against the Tigers, which is in Hamilton in New Zealand. Sea Eagles and Dragons, 2 games at home, and we finish with the Dolphins away at Suncorp Stadium. Can we reach 40 points on the competition ladder? Can we ice these 5 games and finish with 40 points? Levon?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we've done well against teams, apart from the Roosters, where if we play teams twice, we have usually kind of beaten them. Yep. So I would like to say I bank those ones against the Dolphins and the Dragons. Sea Eagles could be a tricky one, depending on where they're at in terms of the ladder. They may want to really push, but I do feel confident we'll continue our trend. The only one I'm really concerned about is this Titans one off a bye. So just where the guys mentally and physically, and it might take a little while to get into it. But apart from that, I feel confident that there's levels to go here. I think Webby's in all interviews that he's done, he said, well, we're not settling, we're not resting, guys. We're going to keep pushing. I do believe we're going to continue to ascend. The attack will get sharper. The defense is hopefully going to stay locked in. I've said I would love to see 50 points for points against us over this next period. So I'd say 50 to 60, 2 converted tries. I'd be happy to see that over this next run, more so than seeing heaps of points. That just tells me it bodes well going into a finals run. So, but I do think it could be five out of 5, guys. And we should confidently say that because the data has said to us that even if our boys had a slip up, they've always picked up, or that they've shown consistency throughout the years. So there's nothing wrong with thinking that.
Yeah, the recent game against the Raiders, where we kind of got out to that 20-10 lead, and then we allowed them to get back in the game, and then we kind of reset, and then had that awesome set at the end of in Golden Point for Sean to get the field goal. I said to Rob at the time, that was semi-final like for us. That just proved that we're a top 8, top 4 semi-final side. Gerard, how do you look at these 5 games coming home? Is there a game that you're worried about in terms of which could kind of catch us off guard?
I think it's in my nature to just worry about every game, and especially the next one. I think what really excites me the most is that we're going to get, hopefully, a bit of a period where we can actually get our full team on the field and playing. And, we haven't had Marata around, we haven't had Barnett around, we haven't had Jazzy around. If we can add these pieces in, get them up to speed and going full steam by the end of the season, man, we can be a real threat. We've been for most of the season, we've kind of been like Voltron, but like without like the red lion, or other weeks we're without the blue lion, or there's always been someone kind of missing. We've been kind of just making do. But if we can get our full team on the field and really firing, I think that's probably the thing that excites me the most, because we've seen little bits of it here and there, little hints of the combination between Jazz and Dylan Walker, and also the work that Barnett's been doing with Adam as well in the middle, and I just think I find that really exciting. I'd love to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this forward pack goes in this game against the Titans in particular. But I really do think we have the goods to win, the next 5 games straight up. We just got to be, I guess, careful with a game, especially like the Manly game, where we may be playing at home with a bit of expectation on our back, which can be a little bit unsettling for A, for the team, and B, for the fans like me. I think that's probably how we just need to approach it. Just try and just get our guys out there, get the combos going, get a bit of magic going, and just see what happens, because I feel like we've really got something here.
Rob, you're a Southeast Queenslander. This game against the Titans is always one that worries us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Particularly in recent years.
Recent years we've struggled, but before that we absolutely dominated the Titans for whatever reason. No matter how badly we were going this season, whenever we played at CBUS, we'd always come away with a good win. Must be because of the parochial Kiwi crowd that turns up. Yep. All the Kiwis on the Gold Coast. But it's always some matches. I think we've had like 3/4 of the crowd there, so it's awesome. So, those of you who haven't been there, it's built like Suncorp Stadium, but like a fraction of the capacity. So it's a really good atmosphere, great place to watch footy, and so hoping for another massive turnout there this weekend, and I'm sure it will be, because I think the away supporters base sold out in like a day or something like that. So it's going to be fantastic. I always enjoy going to the ground. As I said, great place to watch footy. This to me is the big danger game. Yes, as you boys have touched on, coming off a bye, could be a little bit rusty, but I think if we nail this one, and as Richie Morgan is saying in the chat, defense. If we defend well, then we're going to win all these 5. We get a good start against the Titans, and we come away with a strong win there. I'm fairly confident that we'll win all 5, and we'll take some solid form into the semis. But to me, the key game is this Friday night. It all starts there.
We've just got to show that we're ruthless, I think. If we're a true top 4, top 8 side, then these teams that are below us on the ladder really shouldn't trouble us. We should be able to account for them. So I just want to run through the other teams that have got a chance of playing finals footy and just look at their run home as well. So we've got the Panthers, who are leading the comp. They're on 34. They come up against the Storm, the Sea Eagles, the Titans, the Eels, and the Cowboys. for mine, I can't see the Panthers dropping a game.
Unless they rest players.
Yeah, unless they rest players, which could be against the Cowboys, and they may come up against a Storm side, but they're playing the Storm at home, so I think Bluebet Stadium is a bit of a fortress for the Panthers. Do you guys pretty much agree that the Panthers will probably finish minor premiers?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably, yeah. There's a couple of tricky games in there. Manly could be interesting, but I think they're 2 wins clear of us and on equal points with the Broncos. So obviously they're going to go head to head, but their points differential that the Panthers have got is pretty stellar. So I think they're probably pretty safe to get that minor premiership again.
Yeah, I've got. Well, we're talking about the Broncos. They're on 34. They play the Cowboys away, the Eels at home. They have the bye. They've got the Raiders away and the Storm at home. It's not an easy run. I've got the Broncos probably dropping at least one game to finish on 42, and if they drop 2, that'll get us, with us on 40 if we win all 5, and we could end up with a home semi-final. I think either way, the Broncos, the Warriors finish 2 and 3, regardless of which position. And so that'll be our first matchup in the semi-finals. Do you guys kind of agree on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I see the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we owe them one too, I got to say.
Yeah.
It's a team that I look at, the Broncos, and I'm like, if we can run into them.
No team I'd rather beat than the Broncos, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then you got the Storm on 30 points. They've got the Panthers, the Raiders, the Dragons, the Titans, and the Broncos. Again, probably 4 games there that they might pick up, or maybe 3 if they drop that game to the Broncos. I dare say they'll drop the game to the Panthers. They should account for the Raiders, Dragons, and Titans, though. I've got them finishing on 38 points in 4th spot. And then you've got the Raiders on 28 points, and they've got the Tigers, the Storm, the Bulldogs, the Broncos, and the Sharks. So a lot of these teams are playing each other in this run home. I've got the Raiders beating the Tigers, the Bulldogs, and the Sharks, but losing to the Storm and the Broncos to finish on 34. Then the Rabbits on 26 have got the Sharks, the Dragons, the Knights, the Bye, and the Roosters. I got them winning all 5 of those games.
Yeah.
To finish on 36. And then you've got the Sharks on 26 points with them, and they've got the Rabbits, the Titans, the Cowboys, the Knights, and the Raiders. I've actually got the Sharks dropping 3 games in this run home. I just can't tip the Sharks with any confidence at the moment.
No.
I think they'll go down to the Rabbits, they'll go down to the Cowboys, they'll go down to the Raiders, and they could actually go down to the Titans and the Knights as well. So I've got them finishing on 30 and outside of the 8 at this point. Cowboys on 26. They've got the Broncos, the Bye, the Sharks, the Dolphins, and the Panthers. I think they'll drop the Broncos and Panthers game. They'll probably win against the Sharks and the Dolphins, and obviously get the 2 points for the Bye. I've got them finishing on 32, just inside the 8. And then you've got the Knights on 25 and the Sea Eagles on 25. The Knights play the Dolphins and the Bulldogs, who have got them winning. Rabbits and Sharks have got them losing, and the Dragons, who have got them winning, to finish on 31 points. And the Sea Eagles play the Roosters this week. I've got them winning that. They'll drop their game against the Panthers and the Warriors, and they'll beat the Bulldogs and the Tigers. They'll also finish on 31, but they'll miss out on the 8 on for and against because their points differential is a negative at the moment. And then the only other team in contention is the Eels on 24. They've got the Dragons, they'll win. The Broncos, they'll lose. The Roosters, they should win. The Panthers, they'll lose. And the Bye, they'll finish on 30. So my top 8 to finish the season would be the Panthers on 44, the Broncos on 42, the Warriors on 40, the Storm on 38, the Rabbits on 36, the Raiders on 34, the Cowboys on 32, and the Knights sneaking in on 31 on for and against. What are your thoughts on that, boys?
I think
it's pretty close.
If the Cowboys and the Storm could do us a couple of solids in a couple of those games against the Broncos and the Panthers, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
Obviously, we don't want them to overdo it. Don't get too many points now. But like,
Calm down.
Yeah, help us. But there's a couple of real beauties. I'm really looking forward to that Cowboys Broncos game, especially this week. That's going to be very interesting.
And it's also a Saturday afternoon in Townsville. And I was saying to Mark the other day, geez, I hope the Cowboys do what they did against us all those years ago and wear their white jersey and make the Broncos wear their dark jersey. Because, I mean, even though it's technically still winter up there in the tropics of North Queensland, that is going to be hot. It's going to be a hot one. So, interesting.
Do you think they'll water the field?
Yeah. Was it Michael Luck that said that?
Yep.
Or Pricey or something. Yeah.
Michael Luck
deliberately watered the field. Yeah. That's right. And his parents turned up to the game wearing Cowboys gear.
We do have a game this week, boys. As we keep alluding to, we play the Titans at CBUS on Friday evening. Rob, do you want to take us through the team that has named to start this game?
Yes, the team that will run out on CBUS Super Stadium. Chance Nickel-Klukstar, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and Marcelo Montoya on the wings, Rocco Berry and Adam Pompey in the centres, Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson in the halves, front row of Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Mitch Barnett, and the back row of Jackson Ford, Marata Niokore, Tohu Harris. On the bench, Dylan Walker, Bunty Arfoa, Bailey Sirinen and Josh Curran. And then on the extended bench, we have Jazz Tavanga, Tane Toapiki, Freddie Lussick, Tommy Ale, and Tonsils Volkman. So, good-looking side. The only change I can possibly see happening is Jazz coming in for Bailey or someone else, or maybe Josh Curran. I hope not, but I can see Jazz playing on Friday night.
Yeah. Your thoughts, boys? Gerard?
Tricky one on the Jazz situation, because I know that we've been very conservative on bringing guys back, and maybe they've already done that. Maybe he's been ready for a couple of weeks, but they've been just running him and training and getting him up to speed. Because I know that earlier in the season when he was coming back from another injury, they gave him a cup game to get going. So yeah, I'm really interested to see if they do put him into the interchange bench and see how that kind of plays out. But man, I just love that. I love that forward pack, 8 through 13. Good Lord, that's a good looking pack, man. That's a thing of beauty. So I think that's where we go at them. We just try and just, as my mate Daniel says, ground and pound.
Where do you think the Titan strengths, the biggest dangers to us are, Levon?
I'd say outside back, say Brimson, Khan Pereira, Kelly, Sami, just speed to burn. I think that's where they caught a lot of the Cowboys. That was those early shifts, the out to the edges.
Yep.
I think this is a great game to test our edges. I'd love to see Pompey and Berry under this type of pressure, because that's what they're going to get. I mean, the Raiders didn't, for once, apart from Tomoko, didn't do much to test them. And you want to see that's what I was thinking, is that you want to get some games where you get an edge that's quite good and can shift the ball and see how we cope with it. So I think the boys will be up for it, and I think it's going to be a good challenge for them to deal with their speed that those guys have. Pereira on the outside, Dallin will have to be very sharp. Will he come in, or will he, and him and Berry will have to be on point, pretty much all night. So I think it's exciting as well as, a little bit of a challenge, but although their outside backs are really quick and athletic and young too. So I give them a lot of credit.
Is it Berry and Niokore that will be up against David Fafita on David Fafita's edge?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a juicy battle, that one. Ooh.
Yeah, well, see, there's a guy who for years was a flat track bully and only took the ball in that 20 metres before the opposition try line. But this year he's playing a really good brand of footy. Fafita is doing a lot of the hard work, the stuff that you'd want your back rowers to be doing. So yeah, it's going to put a bit of pressure on Niokore and especially Berry. I thought Berry the last 2 weeks has been very, very good for us. Not only with ball in hand, but defensively he's been very solid. So yeah, big test for them. I think we'll get them. But again, as you said, Levon, it's their outside backs, guys like Sami, who does know how to find the try line. Khan Pereira has proven to be a try scorer this year, and then Jaden Campbell, wherever he fits in when he comes on, plays well above his weight. Then you've got the old stager in Kieran Foran, who's going to be there directing him around the
Yeah.
park. Coming up
Right.
against his old mate Sean Johnson. It should be a really good game. I just want to, looking at that team list, I just want to throw a question at you guys. Tamari Martin. If Tamari Martin was fit, does Luke Metcalf still hold his position at 6 in this side, or would Martin come back in? Thoughts? Jump in. I don't care who.
Yep. I'll jump in quickly. I thought the Raiders game was Luke's probably worst game. There was a lot of errors, and just things kind of fell away. I thought it was quite bad. So I was thinking of it like, from his best to his worst game, how big is that gap? If that was his worst, there's quite a chasm there. Whereas Tamaita, if you think about it, what's the difference between his best and worst? Is it a smaller gap? And if so, you might want that experience come finals time, because you're not going to get in a performance like kind of what Luke did. That was my only concern. But I think more time under duress and more consistency will help Luke. And maybe that gap limits where his bad game isn't as bad as it was against the Raiders. So that's my only thought process around that. Is Tamaita does give you the bit more consistency.
It seems a long time since we've seen Tamari play too.
It's been forever.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Tamaita Martin. I loved a lot of the underappreciated work that he did earlier in the season, just watching the classy touches that he offers. Having said that, if he was to come back now, I'd probably still roll with Luke just for now.
Yep.
Because I think that, especially how we've managed our injuries, it doesn't matter who it is. If they're coming back from an injury, we've been quite conservative with that approach. And I'm still my mind boggles at how a guy is able to come back after, breaking a bone in his leg, come back in the same season. It's still pretty amazing. I think for me, I'd still roll with Metcalf for now, even if Tamaita was available. But that's, I love them both, but I'd stick with the hot hand for this game anyway.
Yeah, good to see Ed Cozzi's back too in reserve grade this week as well. Been named to play reserve grade this week, so he had a great start to the season. Yeah,
he had 5 tries in New South Wales Cup, bro.
Are you calling that game, mate?
No.
Are they playing this week? No, they're at St Mary's this week, I think.
Yeah, St Mary's. Yeah. Yep. So I've haven't made the game day squad for New South Wales Rugby League this week, unfortunately.
Oh, come on, man!
Bloody hell!
You've been dropped.
Yeah, mate. A few work-ons.
Hey, imagine Anthony Griffin's commentating the game, is he? You've been hooked. You've been literally hooked.
Right, show.
I couldn't get over the fact that they get a guy who got sacked from the Dragons, and he's the expert commentator on the footy. It's like, come on, man. Seriously.
Hey, well, remember in our game he was saying, "Oh, that was some poor defense from the Warriors." It's like, well, you would know about poor defense.
Absolutely. Let's turn our attention to round 23, boys. We'll quickly go through these games. I'll get your tips for each game. Thursday night, tomorrow night, Roosters versus Sea Eagles at the SCG. Who are you going for, Rob?
I'm going to go an upset. I'm going to go Roosters by 2.
Yeah. Levon?
Yeah, Roosters. I think the Roosters just got overpowered, but they still have, I think, a decent amount to be able to cause trouble for the Seagulls. Yeah, I'd say 6. Yeah, by 6 or something like that.
Jared?
It only feels like about 2 weeks since these teams already played each other.
Yeah, it was.
And that was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I'll still go with the Sea Eagles. I feel like they just got a little bit of spark about them. It could be an interesting game though. But I'll lean to Manly.
Yeah, do or die for Manly this one, because Roosters can't make the 8. Sea Eagles still in contention. I'll go Daly Cherry Evans to lead them. Won't be a runaway game. I think there's only be about 4 or 6 points in it. Friday night, Titans versus Warriors. Boys, obviously we're all tipping the Warriors in this one. Yeah?
Yep.
Up the Wars.
Yeah.
Up the
Up
Wars.
the Wars.
Warriors by 14. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Warriors by 20.
Yep.
The game after that, Panthers versus Storm at Bluebet Stadium. Mate, I'm going to say the Panthers to get it done at home.
Yep.
With a fresh eye.
Yep.
Fresh Ivan Cleary.
Fresh Ivan Cleary.
Is he fresh?
Fresh Ivan Cleary. That was a good one.
Fresh
Sorry,
Ivan
boys.
Cleary. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always good to be fresh as a coach, isn't it? Yeah.
Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
Who are you picking in this one, Levon?
I think Panthers will get away. It'll get away from them. I think they're just too overpowering.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 13 plus. Yeah. Personally.
Jared?
Yeah, you can't really bet against the Panthers at home, I reckon, especially with a fresh either Cleary, really. Yeah, they're both nice and fresh.
Panthers by 12.
Speaking of a fresh Cleary, there was a report a couple of weeks ago that we'd signed Jet Cleary on a trainer trial. Is that confirmed? Is that true?
I've heard the latest rumor is that's been pushed back. And the latest word is that we've picked up one of the Panthers SG Ball halves named Luke
I saw
Hansen.
that. Yep.
So yeah, that's the latest word that I've heard, but it's on. I'm not sure how official those kind of sources are, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
It'd be great to have a Cleary back, wouldn't it, man?
Yeah, it would. It would. Super Saturday, boys, kicks off with, as we spoke about, the Cowboys and the Broncos, the Saturday afternoon game at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Rob, who you got in this one?
Broncos by 14.
Yeah, Levon?
Yep, Broncos, same again, 13 plus. Yep.
Jared?
Yeehaw, do or die. Go the Cowboys.
Ah, nice.
That's good for us. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's
wishful thinking, but I like it.
Yeah.
My head says Broncos by about 10. My heart says, come on, Toddy, get those Cowboys up for us.
Yeah, come on, Toddy, do us another solid.
Yeah. Then followed by the Dolphins and the Knights at the first of a doubleheader at Optus Stadium in Perth. Who you got in this one, Rob?
I've got the Knights in a close one, so I'll go Knights 1-12. I think they've got too much to play for. Dolphins bubbles burst, but they're still competitive. So he said Wayne Bennett coach sides always turn up. So yeah, 1-12, close one to the Knights.
Levon?
Yeah, 1-12. Knights, same points. I think the Dolphins will always fight. They'll keep it tight, but I think the Knights will get away from them. Yep.
Jared?
Yeah, I think Kalen might be doing a bit of running around on that Perth pitch over there. I reckon the Knights will get that one.
That's his old home ground. Or didn't he grow up in Perth? Yeah. I'm picking the Knights as well in that one. And then the second of the doubleheaders is the Rabbits versus Sharks, also at Optus Stadium. What are your thoughts on this one, Rob?
I think the Rabbitohs will start to flex their muscles a little bit. I'm going to go them by about 20.
Yep. Levon?
Yep.
Yeah, same. I think the Rabbitohs will pick up now, and I think it'll be 13 plus easy. Yep.
Yeah. Jared?
Bunnies.
Bunnies. Yeah. Yeah. Bunnies for me too. Latrell to have a field day out there.
Yeah, I think you'll carve up.
I think Sharks, Will Kennedy's out, so I think they've moved Connor Tracy to fullback for this one. There was talk that Nico Hines would go to fullback, but they've named Tracy at fullback. Whether that changes, I don't know.
I think he's in for a tough night.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be a tough one.
And then Eels versus Dragons at CommBank Stadium, the first of the Sunday games. Rob?
Yeah, look, I think the Eels will win. I think this will be closer than we think, but I'm going to go the Eels 1-12.
Yeah. Levon?
Yeah, I think Eels. I'll say 13 plus, yeah.
Yeah. Dylan Brown back this week too for the Eels, which is a big
Yeah, the return game, maybe a bit of redemption as well. I reckon the Eels should be too good at home.
Yeah, I think the Eels as well. I've tipped the Dragons to win the Wooden Spoon, so I need them to start losing a few more games. And the last game, the Raiders versus the Tigers at GIO Stadium. Who you got this one, Rob?
Another TV game for the Tigers. Another primetime game for the Tigers. Honestly,
ridiculous.
If the Raiders are worth their salt, then they should be pounding the Tigers here. Yeah, I don't think it'll be as bad as we think. 14. Yeah, Raiders by 14.
Levon?
Yeah, I think something similar. I think the lower teams are going to just start to fade away now, and the Raiders will just be more hungrier and at home, and they'll figure it out. Yeah, probably 13 plus for me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Gerard?
the wounded Raiders for me, I think they're due for a bit of a bounce back after an absolute shocker last week. I reckon they're due to really lay it on the Tigers, unfortunately for them.
Yep, I agree. I think the Raiders will get this. I've got a multi on. I've got Hopper Whitey to score a double in that one. So, and then we've got the Bulldogs. I've actually got a multi on. I've got Dallin to score a double, into Alex Johnson to score a double, into Dom Young to score a double, into Albert Hopper Whitey to score a double. So
nice. Yeah.
there you go.
Double.
Yeah, that's my double bet this week. And the Bulldogs have the bye, and we'll take a quick look at the NRLW round 3 fixtures. I don't know, are you guys up on the NRLW at all? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Thursday night, curtain raisers for the Roosters game. We've got the Roosters versus the Dragons at the SCG. Roosters needing to bounce back from that shock loss to the Raiders last week. Rob, who are you picking in this one?
Oh, I'm going to go upset Dragons to put more misery on the Roosters.
Yeah. Levon?
I think the Roosters will come back. I think, is it Sturgis? Is she back this week? I'm not sure if she is. Or
yeah, she is.
I think
She's been named.
she'll play a part, and I think they are a quality side. So I'll probably go with the Roosters.
Yeah.
Jared? She's a gun. She is a gun. Just Sturgis. I'm going to go with the Chooks as well. They haven't had a lot to cheer about lately, so I think it's due for them to do something.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close one. I'm going to go the Chooks as well. I just think they've got a bit more class across the park. Saturday, the Cowboys versus the Broncos at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. A true curtain raiser for both teams. Cowboys got their first up win last week. This is their first home game at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Broncos still yet to get a win in season 2023. Robbie, who are you going in this one?
Yeah, I'll go with the Broncos to get their first win. I think it'll be close, but yeah, I think they'll get the job done.
Levon?
Yeah, Broncos. I really like them. I like the Kiwi players in there as well. Broughton, Hufanga. Yeah. I think they haven't had time to click. I think Brigginshaw will get them going. I think they'll get the win here by 6, I reckon. Yep.
Jared?
Yeah, that's a gun team, isn't it? The Broncos. I don't really know what's been they haven't quite clicked so far, but I think they will get their first win against the curiously named Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I think the Broncos will get their first win of the season too. Then we got the Sharks versus the Titans at PointsBet Stadium on Saturday. This is a weird one because it's the only game that's a standalone game this weekend. All the other games are curtain raisers to first grade games. They could have had the Titans play that game at CBUS on Friday as a curtain raiser to the Titans Warriors. But anyway, Sharks trying to bounce back from last week. The men's and the women's team became the first teams in both the NRL and NRLW to score 0 on the same weekend. Congratulations to the Sharkies.
Marvelous.
We love hearing that.
Yeah, we do. What's your tip in this one, Rob? Sharks or Titans?
I think the Titans will be too good in this one and a close one.
Yep. Levon?
Yeah, I think the Titans. I like the outside backs. I think they're a pretty good side, actually. I think that win against the Broncos would have helped them just to continue on. So, yeah, I'll tip them in a close one, I think.
Jared?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans as well. I was sort of just trying to develop a little bit of trust in the newer teams that have come in this year. So I think the experience of Gold Coast should get them over the line.
Yeah, Georgia Hale last week, 50 tackles for the Titans and 0 misses, playing in the middle there. She's an absolute legend. Yeah, Sharks have got had some good signings in Penatani and Takairangi and Tonegado, but yeah, they're kind of just struggling a little bit. Now, I don't know if Tonegato's playing this week. She's been named, but she left the field early with an injury, so that could throw things up a little bit for them. I'm picking the Titans in this one as well. Sunday footy, Eels versus Knights at CommBank Stadium. Rob?
Knights. I think they'll be too good for the Eels. Yeah, Knights by 8.
Levon?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I haven't watched these two teams in particular. I'll go maybe Eels. It looks like they haven't won a game, have they?
No.
Yeah, I'll just give them a crack, maybe in a close one. But yeah, probably wrong.
I like that, bro. I like that. One of the wife's cousins playing in the Parramatta team, so we're like hard out cheering for Parramatta. But sadly, I'm going to pick the Knights.
Oh, really? Who is your wife's cousin?
Cassie Tohi Hiku.
Oh, Tohi Hiku. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Scored a good
she's
try
pretty
last
good.
week. Playing
Yeah.
well. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
nice.
we're excited. We've been watching, and they just still trying to get their first win of the season. So fingers crossed. Levon, you come through, bro.
Yeah, won't happen.
So.
Won't happen.
Won't happen.
I think the Knights will be too strong for him in this one. And then the final game, the Raiders up against the Tigers at GIO Stadium. The Raiders, fresh off their first win of the season, played at GIO Stadium last week. It got to experience that Viking clap when they came out, and defensively they were outstanding. Tigers undefeated and leading the comp. You don't hear that often in rugby league terms. Rob, what's your pick for this game?
I'm gonna go the Tigers. I think they can get 3 in a row. I'll stick with the girls there. Yeah, I think it'll be close because the Raiders do look a handy side. But Tigers will get it done in a close game, I think.
Okay, Levon.
Yeah, I'll probably stick Tigers as well. I think the Raiders, they had a good win the previous week, is it? But I think they're kind of doing well. I just want to say one thing though. Can we lower the goalpost, the crossbar for the girls on the goal kicking? I'm sick of seeing these kicks just falling short or wayward. Maybe just lower the crossbar to maybe 5 feet or something, and just give them a bit more opportunity to get But I love the girls. I love the way they play. I think the quality is up there with FIFA World Cup level quality. I'm not disrespecting them, but just some of their kicking, they'll come with probably time, but the crossbar maybe drop that a little bit. Just like a basketball hoop, just drop it lower for them.
Jared, your pick for this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tigers as well. I've seen a few highlights of this. Is it Jakia Whitfield?
Jakia Whitfield on the wing. Yep.
Holy moly, she looks awesome. So I reckon the Tigers. I'm enjoying seeing their run. Another new team. I hope they go out and turn it on. I also got to back up the point Levon just made there about the kicking. I think I've seen the future, bro, and that is the champion teams are going to have someone who has a gun boot. That's what it is. So parents out there, if you've got daughters playing the game, get them down to the park, train them up, kick.
Yep.
Get those, get the thunder boot going because that's going to really help your team get to the top, I reckon.
I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to pick the Raiders, Zahara Tamara, to kick the Raiders home. Just on what Levon was saying too, the girls are actually advocating for a smaller ball because their hands are smaller. They want to actually have the smaller size ball. Okay. And then to Jared's point, there is a couple of sharpshooters. You've got Kira Dibb now, who's playing up at the Cowboys, who is a mean goal kicker. Racing McGregor at the Dragons can kick. Tamara at the Raiders. So there's a few girls out there that are got really, really good kicking boots on them. I think the issue is that they take the ball too far back. It's not so much
that was always my problem too. I always had that problem as well, Yeah. And too far out wide. I'm like, I can kick it from the sideline.
Me too.
Yes, well, obviously we've got our big game this Friday night against the Titans at CBUS Super Stadium, and Hammer and I will both be there. We're going to be there for the Warriors fan function before pre-game at the Sporting Globe, and then afterwards in the stadium bar where there's an opportunity to meet some of the players there as well. You did have to register for that event, so it may not be too late to get in there. I do believe it's fully allocated now, but it may not be too late to get yourself on the waiting list should someone not decide to pull out, and you may be contacted. But otherwise, we're looking forward to catching up with all you guys at the game. Get on your Up the Waz t-shirts, get Up the Waz blaring on your Spotify. Get all that happening. We'd love to catch up with as many of you as we can, have a chat, and hopefully enjoy a really good win. It's going to be a great day, isn't it? The Gold Coast, always a good game day. It'll be good conditions. So, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week for our usual time slot every Wednesday night from 7:30 moving forward. We're going to be uploading, as always, our pre-recorded content on a regular weekly basis, including our reviews of the NRL and the NRLW. That's going to be on a YouTube channel. So please make sure that you have subscribed and hit that bell so you don't miss any of the content.
Absolutely. Before we wrap it up tonight, again, I just want to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters, especially our Patreon supporters, for their continued support, and give a shout out to our gold Patreons, Alf Tuolave, Malcolm Earnshaw, Chris Wellington, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Inamete, and Lisa Marie Bateman. If you want to show your appreciation support, you can head to our Patreon page to subscribe to our bronze tier general support level or our silver and gold tiers, which includes supporter merchandise and benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And another great way to show your support is to jump onto our Redbubble store, where you can get a great range of exclusive Ruin Hammer merchandise honoring past legends of the club, present stars, some great novelty prints as well. So jump on there and grab yourself a bargain. We're both rocking a couple of shirts here. So, yeah,
I got the
check
Jazz.
it out. And you got the Joshy Curran tonight. So, yeah, go and check it out and grab yourself a bargain. And that is it for tonight's show. A massive thank you to our two special guests for joining us tonight. It's Gerard, of course, from Warriors Anonymous, and Levon from Wise Up Podcast. Make sure you go and follow both of them. Show the boys some love. Show your support. And thank you to you guys who continue to support us here at Ruin Hammer. It's very much appreciated.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing everyone on Friday at the game. Boys, thanks very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and look forward to getting you on again soon also.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Watang
guys.
Clan. Love it.
The Watang.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Cheers, boys.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers.
What is going on?
But the button is not cooperating.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I was wondering if it was like the news, you know, when they play the music on the outro and they kind of pretend like they're clicking to one another,
I can just see the live still clicking over in the corner.
Yeah.
It's just, just don't say anything bad about anyone yet. It will stop. It will stop. But yeah, it was great having you guys on.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. Mate, you might just have to kill the whole feed.
I'm just going to kill the feed. Thanks, everyone.
See you, boys.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Oh, funny shit.